There is a good story about the use the great Italian scientist Galileo once made of his knowledge of the pulse rate. Galileo lived 300 years ago, before people had watched for measuring time. In the 16th century, there were very few clocks in the world and no watches. One day, when Galileo was a young man of 18, he was in the great church of the city of Pisa, where he lived. Watching the motion of a light hanging down on a long chain from the roof high above his head, he saw that as the light moved forward and back on its chain, it seemed to take the same time between turns, however far it went. Once, or one time in the past, forward, to the front, chain, support made of metal rings going through one another, however far, when it went only a short distance, and when it went a longer distance, however, in whatever way. To see if he was right about the motion of the light, Galileo put his fingers on his wrist. He timed the motion of the light as it went forward and back on its chain, measuring it by his pulse rate. He was right. He had the proof. He could prove that the time was the same, however short or long the journey of the light through the air was. Galileo had made a great discovery about the motion of a pendulum. Among other things, his discovery made possible a better instrument for measuring time, the pendulum clock. Proof: that which makes clear that something is so. Timed: measured the time taken by. Prove: give proof. Pendulum: hanging weight free to move from side to side. Will prove: prove, proves, proved. Will time: time, times, timed. Measuring how far something is moving gives us the rate of motion. This plane has gone 300 miles in half an hour. Its rate was 600 mph. This man has walked 2 miles in half an hour. He was walking at a rate of 4 miles an hour. Now he is standing. He is not moving. This man is walking slowly. His pay will be small if he is paid by the amount of work he does in a day. This other man is working quickly. His pay will be high if he is paid by the amount of work done in a day. The two commonest ways of paying a worker are by the hour and by the amount of work done. Piecework is work paid by the amount done. For different sorts of work, rates of pay may be different. Sometimes rates for the same sort of work are different in different places. Piece, bit, amount, part of something solid. mph, miles per hour, miles in an hour, measure of rate of motion. Pay, amount of money given for work. Will pay, pay, pays, paid. In different countries, different sort of money may be used. In the USA and Canada, people are paid in dollars. In the UK, they are paid in pounds. The rate of exchange between the USA dollar and the pound in 2004 was about $1.76 to 1 pound. You could change a pound for $1.76. Here are some other rates of exchange. They are for the business week August 16th, August 20th, 2004. Canada, 1.30. USA, $1. India, rupees, 46.28 rupees. USA, $1. Italy, euro, 0.8. USA, $1. A table of exchange rates is printed in the newspaper. Exchange: amount of one sort of money paid for an amount of another. Table. In this sense, list of relations between numbers. Print. Mark made by pressure. Printing of books began in Europe in 1438. The first newspapers were printed in the late 17th century. Will print, print, prints, printed. When we move about from one country to another, we sometimes have to change our money. We sometimes have to change our watches, and sometimes we change both. When we change our watches, we move the hands forward or back. Forward if we are going east, and back if we are going west. Here is a map giving time lines across the Pacific Ocean. In the days when Galileo used his pulse as a timekeeper, most people did not even know that the earth was round. They knew no more about the journey of the earth around the sun than they did about the journey of their bloodstream through their bodies. Both, the two, one and the other of two, even, so much as. Even gives the idea that something is much more than we would think, or much less. But 2,000 years before Galileo, there were Egyptians and Greeks who knew more than a little about the motions of the sun and stars and the angles between them at different times. Some few Greeks even knew that the earth is not flat, as it seems, but round like a ball. One of them even said that it was about 25,000 miles round, which it is, and that the earth moved around the sun while turning on itself. It is from the Greek language, sometimes through Latin and French, that many of the words used in science have come. For example, graph from graphene, write, photograph from phos, photos, light, and graphene, energy from energia, and in ergon, work, telescope from tele, far, and scopus, a watcher, telephone from tele and phone, voice, microscope from mikros, small, and scopus, thermometer from therme, heat, and metron, measure. Flat, like a floor, with no part higher than another. Some lands are flat, others are all mountains, and others again have both high and low land. Even said, went so far as to say. But for another 2,000 years, most people went on thinking that the earth was flat like a large plate, with the sun and stars joining round it. How was the idea that the earth is not flat, but round like a ball, proved true in the end? Sailing men went out in their ships to find a way by water from Europe to India and China. Though some ships from the north of Europe had sailed west to parts of America in the 10th century, most of Europe had no knowledge of the land across the Atlantic. Men like Marco Polo had gone east to India and China, much of the way by land long before Columbus in 1492 went sailing west, with the idea that he could get round to the far east by water. To find, to look for, and discover, or come upon. Though, even if, will find, finds, found. Christopher Columbus has gone down in history as the man who discovered America. He was looking for a way of getting to the east by sailing west. It was hard for him to get help for this journey. He was laughed at by most people when he said he could go this way to India because the earth was round. This is the sort of ship Columbus sailed in. He made use of a half-hour sand glass for measuring time at sea. Through all the long months, the glasses on Columbus's 3 ships had to be turned every half hour as the sand ran out. Gone down. Been given a place. When a person's name goes down in history, something he has done is recorded in history books. Could, in this sense, would be able to, as used on the opposite page.